Alrighty, so we've seen how to create quite a complex plot, but in terms of customization, we've kind of glazed over these set parameters and title and X label and Y label and not. So what we're going to do now is look at customization of plots a little bit more in depth, and by the end of this video, perhaps the next video, we're going to replicate or transform this plot into something which looks exactly like the one we've got here. So the data's still the same, but you can kind of see that there's a different style in terms of color, line, and just the text is a little bit different. The font, the axes are a little bit different. So let's get into it, eh? So what we're going to do first is have a look at some different styles of Matplotlib. So the beautiful thing about Matplotlib is that, again, one of its other customizable parameters is the style of plot that you're using. So if the default one, which is what we're kind of using now, doesn't quite look how you want it to look, you can try other different styles. So let's go down here. We'll make a little section, customizing Matplotlib plots and getting stylish. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're getting stylish. See the different styles available. Now what this is going to do is if we call plt.style.available, it's going to tell us what kind of styles Matplotlib has available to us. Right now, by default, by just importing Matplotlib right at the top, we're using the default style. But as you can see, there's about 20 other styles that you can use. So let's try out a few of these, but first we'll remind ourselves of what the default style looks like. That way we can compare and see which one we like best, because I've tried a few of these and I kind of know which ones I like, but again, it'll come down to personal preference of what kind of style you want to use. So this is the default style. We're plotting the car sales data frame that we've seen a few times now. So car sales.head. This is our car sales data frame. We plot the price column. We've got a beautiful line graph there. Now that's pretty good on its own. So let's have a look. Maybe we want to use plt.style.use, and I'm going to choose the Seaborn white grid. Let's see what that looks like. We'll type that in, Seaborn white grid. Wonderful. So that's going to update Matplotlib's style internally. So if we call the same plot that we did before, price.plot, put a semicolon at the end. See how it looks a bit different? Now we've got some grid lines here. We've got a little bit of a gap here. Maybe the axes limit is a bit higher for the y-axis. But generally quite the same as the default Matplotlib style. Now, again, you might think that the Matplotlib default style is perfect for your needs, and that's okay. We're going through these different styles, right? Because I want you to understand just how customizable these plots are. Let's try another, plot.style.use, and this time we might just use the default Seaborn. So if we go up here, Seaborn on its own. Now Seaborn is another plotting library that's built off Matplotlib. And now we're going to go car sales.price plot. Wonderful. So now kind of a little bit different. So this is white grid, so we've got a white background. That kind of makes sense. But the default Seaborn style kind of has this grey background. But again, we're still plotting the exact same data, just mixing up the style, mixing up the colors. Why don't we try another kind of plot? We'll do car sales.plot. Now that the style is set to Seaborn, how about we check the odometer? KM, and then let's go odometer versus price. We've seen this plot somewhere before. Kind equals, we'll make it a scatter plot. There we go. It's a little bit different to the original scatter plot that we've seen before. This one maybe look a bit better to you. I personally prefer the Seaborn style, so I might run this line of code when I start a new notebook. So run it right at the top under my Matplotlib imports, just to make sure all my plots are in the Seaborn style. So we'll save that there. That's another good habit to get into, is just hitting Command or Control S every so often with your notebooks. And we might use one more plot just for good luck. Plot.style. This time we're going to use ggplot, which is up here. ggplot is a different kind of style. And so we'll do the price graph again. Price.plot. There we go. So now we've got a bit of a different, maybe a creamy grey. I don't know how you would describe that color, but the line is definitely changed to red. As you can see, Seaborn kind of comes with some axis titles by default, whereas these don't have them. Okay, now these are some sweet looking plots. And now we've seen how to change up the style. How about the titles, the legend, and the axes? Like this one doesn't have any. It just has numbers on both axes. If a plot is worth 1,000 words, adding a few more can't hurt, right? So let's do that. We'll create some dummy data. Create some data, x equals, we've seen this before, numpy.randn, and we'll go 10, 4. There we go, we've got an array there, wonderful. Now we'll put that into a data frame. We've created a data frame like this before, but we're just gonna practice reworking some of the things we've already done. That way they start to sink into memory a bit more. CD. Wonderful. Now this should give us a data frame. Yep. 4 columns, 10 rows of some random numbers. Beautiful. And now we're going to create a simple plot. Now this, we're going to use a PyPlot API because we want to just create a plot quickly. If you wanted to create something more in depth like we've done here, where is it? There. You would probably use an object-oriented API. But because we're doing some quick and dirty plots at the moment, we'll just use we'll plot straight from the pandas data frame with the PyPlot API. So kind equals bar, and then we're going to look at the type of ax. Beautiful. So this is a bar graph that we've built just off this data frame here. We've got some negative and positive values, different colors for the different columns. That all makes sense. And now we're going to customize our plot with the set method. So we got ax. We'll rewrite it, ax, so we can see it all in one cell. df.plot kind equals bar. Wonderful. And now we want to add some labels and a title. So we want ax.set, and we got title. So as you could probably guess, this is going to set the title. Random bar graph from data frame. Wonderful. I've spelt graph terribly. That's all right. There we go. And then within this set has a few parameters here. So if we go shift tab, there we go, shift.keyword args. So this is probably another one you probably want to look into the documentation to start to figure out all the different kinds of customizations you can add to it. But we're just going to go through the main ones, which are title, X label, and Y label. They're probably the bare minimum you'd want on any plot or figure that you create, right? You want to know what's on the X-axis and you want to know what's on the Y-axis, rather than just it having numbers there. Row number, random number. Simple titles. And then we'll make the legend visible. Now this one is kind of confusing because the legend already is visible. But if it wasn't visible, some plots do have a legend already built in, so you can use this ax.legend.setVisible and then set visible to true, which won't really change ours because it's already visible. But let's see what happens. What do we got here? Axis plot has no property title. Oh, another typo. There we go. Wonderful. So now we've got the exact same plot as up here, but now we've just used the set method to add in an axis label on the Y and the X and a title. So that's starting to look a lot more communicative right there. All right. Now, what if the style we're using doesn't quite suit the plot we're trying to make? So that's what we'll probably look into the next video. We'll change around the style within a set style. So if that sounds a little confusing, don't worry, we'll go through it in the next video. But in the meantime, try out creating some of your own plots using plot.style.use and pick anyone from this list and just start to get a feel for what the different styles look like. My personal favorite is probably Seaborn or Seaborn White Grid. Seaborn generally just has some great styles down here. All right, let's take a little break, write some custom code, and I'll see you shortly.